Whoever we are, whatever our background, whatever our circumstances, any one of us can suffer from anxiety and depression. They are extremely common problems. 1 in every 5 people suffers from them every year.
I never thought of myself as a person who, you know, would have any mental problems, you know what I mean? You know, nobody in our family ever had anything like that. So, you know, when the doctor said it's, you know, it's stress and everything, I couldn't believe it, you know.
I felt very miserable, very hemmed in. Sometimes when Michael went to work and Rebecca was at nursery, I actually went back to bed again. Everything just seemed to be too much effort.
I've had a really terrible time with it.
The good news is that there are things we can do to feel better and stay better through life's ups and downs. This introduction is the first step to beating the blues. Welcome to Beating the Blues, a self-help program for depression and anxiety. It's based on cognitive behavioural therapy, CBT for short. The National Institute for Health and Clinical Excellence recommends CBT as the therapy of choice for both depression and anxiety. This introduction will tell you more about anxiety and depression and why CBT is an effective way to combat them. It will also tell you what beating the blues is all about so that you'll be ready to start tackling your problems right from the first computer therapy session. Anxiety and depression can change the way people think and the things they do. For example, they may have negative thoughts, avoid certain situations, and stop doing enjoyable things. This in turn makes them feel even more anxious and depressed, and so a vicious circle is set up. CBT breaks this circle by helping people to change negative thinking and behaviour. It's proved to be just as effective as drugs in treating anxiety and depression, and even more effective in stopping the problems reoccurring.
I'm a completely different person. I'm out and about. I just feel as if the therapy has helped me so much. It really has.
Obviously things aren't perfect, but doing the programme has meant, I think, that I can cope.
Anxiety and depression often go hand in hand, but they can also occur separately. Let's take a closer look at each of them. Depression has many different meanings. It's far more than just feeling very low or fed up. It affects the way we think, how we feel, what we do or don't do.
Oh, I don't know, I'm useless. I've let the house go. I don't bother to clean. I haven't dusted for ages. Everything's just a big mess. And I seem to just sit and look at it.
There's no single cause of depression. Some people become depressed because of traumatic events in their lives. Increasingly, it's because of the stresses and strains of daily living. Occasionally, there appears to be no cause at all. The symptoms vary from emotional reactions, through behaviours, thoughts or mental images, to physical symptoms.
I'm exhausted, really tired. I'm tired of all of it. I haven't got the energy to do any of it. Can't cope.
The symptoms are often very distressing, but depression can be successfully treated. All the techniques in this program were developed specifically to help people overcome their depression. Now let's take a look at the symptoms and causes of anxiety. People use a number of different words for anxiety, such as nerves, stress, wound up, panic. A certain level of stress or anxiety is quite normal, but it becomes a problem when it stops us doing the things we want to do. Again, the symptoms vary from person to person. Some are physical, others are behavioural, some are emotional reactions, whilst others appear as thoughts or mental images.
Just sheer terror set in. My heart started pounding. I became very breathless. I couldn't catch my breath. I thought my chest was going to explode.
I'd be sweating and, you know, my hands would be shaking and my heart would be thumping and everything, and sometimes we might just go complete blank.
If you're suffering from similar symptoms, Beating the Blues will tell you more about what causes anxiety and what you can do to overcome it. By practicing the techniques demonstrated in the program, thousands of people have been able to control their depression and anxiety symptoms. So let's have a look at what the program is all about. The therapy is computer-based, but you don't need to have used a computer before. In the first session, you'll learn how to use the program, and you'll see just how simple it really is. The therapy consists of 8 sessions, 1 a week. It will help you to set your own personal goals and tailor the program to meet your needs. You'll also learn some new ways of coping with your specific problems. Beating the Blues helps a wide variety of people, regardless of their age and gender. The program also improves how people feel, even if they are already taking medication for their depression or anxiety. You should complete all 8 sessions, even if you start to feel better. Doing all the sessions will give you some skills that will help you in the future if you ever start to feel down or anxious. Your doctor, or whoever is helping you with the program, will get a progress report after each session, but otherwise the sessions are confidential. You choose your own password so that only you can see what you've done in the program. CBT is different from other types of therapy in a number of ways. Rather than exploring things that have happened in the past, CBT focuses on what's happening in your life here and now. It gives you very practical techniques to solve your specific problems, and it teaches you how to think realistically. There are projects for you to carry out between sessions. These are really important. Research has shown that people who do the weekly projects get 3 times as much benefit from the therapy. CBT is not a magic cure. The more you put into the program, the more you'll get out of it. Throughout the program, we follow a number of people suffering from anxiety and depression. Their stories show that CBT gives people techniques that help them to get better and, most importantly, stay better. As a single parent with serious money problems, Elaine found life very difficult. She wasn't giving her children the affection they needed and was arguing a lot with her mother. This made her feel very depressed and guilty. CBT helped her to work on her anxiety and depression and to start tackling her money problems. She now feels much better.
I don't lose my temper as much, and when I do lose my temper, I know more how to just deal with it and not get so hurt and angry. And so I can deal with that now, and I just feel a lot calmer. And the last thing I really wanted to sort out was with Danny. I wanted to, spend a lot more time with him, which is what I'm doing now. I've been scheduling the time to be with him, and we're doing that together now, so that's great. And of course, he's a lot happier about that. It's a lot nicer as well.
Bob had problems coping with the pressures at work. He began to get very worried about being made redundant. CBT helped Bob to deal with these problems. However, a few months later, he was made redundant.
I did feel more anxious and depressed than I'd been doing, obviously. But I'd got I'd got a technique for dealing with it, really. I'd got, the therapy, what the therapy had taught me. I mean, I don't know what I would have done, really, if all this had have happened before I'd have had the therapy. I'd have been in big trouble, I think.
Jean has lived alone since the death of her husband. She was an active person and helped out as a volunteer at an old people's day centre. But when a close friend died, she became very depressed. Gradually, she stopped going out. After some persuasion, she did a CBT program which helped her to cope with her problems.
Well, I now get a decent night's sleep, which is a great plus. I've got the house spick and span, clean, the way it used to be. And I go to the day centre, sometimes once, and sometimes twice a week, and I see all the old folk. I get a feeling of helping them, but at the same time being helped myself. It's a sort of exchange. They're nice and friendly, and I like going there.
Andrew is a teacher who became depressed for no apparent reason. He fell behind with his lesson preparation and marking and found it difficult to keep control of his class. All of this put a strain on his relationship with his girlfriend, Alison. CBT gave Andrew techniques to manage his depression, and he is starting to cope with his job and enjoy his relationship with Alison again.
I'm sleeping a lot better than I was before. I mean, occasionally, sometimes the odd night where I don't sleep because I find that I've, wandered off to something and I start thinking about it and I become anxious again. So, but in general, I'm sleeping better. Well, my preparation and marking was going really well. Apart from one time where it kind of all fell to bits, but I forced myself to sit down and to go back kind of like almost to the beginning and go through everything and say, okay, no, set, a particular time and do it. And it managed to come out all right at the end. But I managed just to kind of take time out and go through everything and, relax, and all my techniques that I've learned, and I've been doing that, and I'm coping so much better with them.
18 months ago, Heather was involved in a car crash. She wasn't badly hurt, but she started to have panic attacks, which stopped her driving and working. She became very depressed. After completing the CBT program, she feels very different.
Well, 6 months ago, I couldn't even sit in a car. The very thought of it just made me so terrified and so anxious. And I'm actually sitting in a car now. I'm driving. I'm working again. I'm re-establishing my business contacts and dealing with my correspondence.
Wow.
And I just feel like I'm achieving my goals.
Get you this time.
When I find that I'm getting anxious or I have these thoughts, I can actually stop and I can think, why am I thinking these thoughts? Why am I feeling this way? I can challenge the way I'm thinking and the way I'm feeling and work out for myself exactly what's going on.
Whether you have similar problems to these people or different kinds of experiences and symptoms, Beating the Blues will help you to manage them.
Feel a bit more like I've got a bit more worth as like a person. I feel a bit more confident, feel a bit more kind of like people respect me more because I'm here for a reason, I'm good at certain things.
I'm pleased, and I realised, I can change the way I think about myself.
You don't like to, blow your own trumpet, do you? But, yeah, I got over it, and got there in the end.
There are many ways in which Beating the Blues can help you. The next step is to do your first therapy session. This will focus on your specific symptoms. You'll set goals and learn some techniques to start tackling your problems. By deciding to use Beating the Blues, you are taking the first step towards changing the way you think about your life for the better.